I think every business is a lifestyle business because every business impacts your lifestyle for better or for worse.
Welcome to the Legacy Branding Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Beauprelon, here to guide you through the journey of selling your business and building a personal brand that leaves a lasting impact. On the show, we'll explore real-life founder stories, expert insights, and actionable strategies to help you navigate the transition, avoid post-sale crisis, and create your impact-driven legacy brand. Whether you're thinking of selling, building to sell, or already on the other side, this podcast is your go-to resource for making your next evolution your best one yet. Let's dive in. Today on the Legacy Branding Podcast, I'm joined by Taki, a coach for coaches, a systems genius, and the founder of $1 Million Coach. Taki has helped thousands of coaches scale their businesses to 7 figures and beyond, without drowning in complexity or losing their weekends to Zoom calls. He's the creator of Black Belt and Boardroom, go-to programs for top-performing coaches who want to simplify, systemize, and scale. Taki is known for scribbling models on brown paper, turning broken offers into sold-out programs, and building a life-first business that supports how you actually want to live. Taki, welcome to the show.
Hey, you're really good at this messaging thing. I might steal that. That was a very good intro.
Great. It's all taken from things you sent me, but I try to put my own spin on it.
As you said, brown paper, I'm looking here at my favorite object. We've got this old desk from the 1950s that's hydraulic. You pump it with your foot and a big roll of brown paper over it that I scribble on night and day. It's great.
I love it. Just before this, we were talking about the people we know in common and how I'd heard your name even before we met earlier this year. People have always spoken just with reverence in a way of you and the work that you do.
I'll take it. It's very kind. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So we work with a lot of founders who've sold their business, as I mentioned to you earlier, or people who've maybe left a corporate career and they're not done.
Yeah.
They want to step into something new. And the one thing that I've noticed that comes up over and over again is people stepping into coaching and often speaking, maybe writing a book. But coaching is often a key piece to that. So that's why I'm really excited for this conversation, especially since you are the $1 Million Coach and the insights that you can share.
Yeah, I think that's a natural next step. If you've done something with your career, you've got skills and a story, both of which lean really well into some kind of expert business, whether it's coaching or it's consulting or it's mentoring or it's speaking or writing, that is a natural next step for a lot of people. My friend Jason calls it like a second mountain of their business, the next phase. And for others, it's like an intermediate step. It's like something I can get my hands on, put my foot in and see if I like it. But for many, it turns into an amazing second career. It's cool.
Do you find that people are starting this while they're still doing something else? Does coaching often start as a side hustle?
I think it depends a bit on personal circumstances. The nice thing about it is it's pretty low infrastructure to set up, and it's the sort of thing you can dip your toes in while you're doing something else. So often it starts as you start thinking about exiting or you're doing something else. It's nice because it can fit into the margins of your life. And then pretty quickly you get a taste for it, and it's incredibly fun, really rewarding to do great work with people that you love and find out that all of the skills that you built can be transferred to somebody else, either the direct skills or the knowledge and lessons and philosophy behind it to help someone. Often side thing, when it first gets started, it's not a full-time gig because you don't have anyone to help yet. And so it could definitely be done on the side.
Do you find that people are coming with like a long career behind them or business? Like what is the experience you find when people are stepping into coaching?
I work with people right across the spectrum, and many of them have been there and they've done it. Some of them have read about it. So there's a spectrum. I think the ones who've got some real street cred and some runs on the board do incredibly well because they can speak to, frankly, a higher level client with much more authority and conviction. So if you have a track record and experience, everything just gets so much easier. I think it directly translates into productizing or packaging the knowledge and skills in your head, that if you're just getting started, you're kind of figuring it out. If you've got a background, then all of the steps get easier. You've got often a little bit of a network. You've definitely got skills and experience. Sometimes, just like you do with the messaging side, I think the ability to unpack what have I done and who am I that turns into a brand that can last. The same questions about what have I done and who have I become to package into a commercial offer. I think those two skills just are an accelerant.
I wrote a blog post on branding for coaches a number of years ago.
I should have read it. Right?
Yeah, I'll send that to you. Finding some stats around how much money coaches actually make, like the average.
Oh, I think you just don't look at the average. Most of those stats come out of the International Coach Federation, which is a professional body. Coaching is unregulated, which means that there's some sharks and some charlatans. But it also means that the people who go down the traditional certification academic route have one path, and often they're sort of corporate coaches working for big corporations on an hourly or a project basis, where that's not the world that I play in. Coaches can do incredibly well. I mean, right now we coach maybe 700 clients across kind of 3 programs. The first group is people just getting started to $10,000 a month. The second group is 6 figures, 10K a month to $1 million a year. And about a third of our clients do between $1 million a year and, a couple of them $1 million a week, like big numbers. And obviously they're not doing $1 million a year or $1 million a week one-on-one. So it often looks a little bit more like training with some coaching rather than pure coaching. But we had this conversation before we hit record about, is it coaching, is it consulting? It's just helping people, and the modality doesn't matter a ton.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Maybe I need to update my blog post about branding for coaches with some of your stats.
Just put according to the ICF.
I'm just going to refer them all to you.
No, I saw something maybe 5 years ago from the ICF. I think every industry has some peak performers and a long tail, and I think that's true regardless of whether they're certified in ICF. Most of our clients are business coaches, and obviously if you're helping somebody with business issues, people are often more likely to invest because they can see an immediate tangible ROI. We don't spend enough on our health or our kids or our family or that stuff, but I think the upside could be pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I know something you've talked about a lot, and I know you walk the walk as well, about building a business that isn't 100% dependent on you, that you also have the ability to have some freedom to travel, to live abroad. I've done that as well. Like, I understand that desire, and I think that's huge. So what does that look like? Can you talk about that? Because I think especially if a founder is looking to exit, they don't want to be working in their business the way they were. They probably are looking for more of a lifestyle business. And I feel like coaching could fit that model.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit mercenary here just for a second. We've talked about money and we know that that's possible. I think broadly speaking, as the business gets bigger, there's a real danger that business gets bigger and better, but life gets worse. And that's not the game I want to play in. I've got 6 kids and 5.5 grandkids as of today. You're one more on the way. Yeah, I just found out my son's having another one, which is exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So a couple of years ago, I got asked by Dan Martell, who we both know, to go speak at an event that he was running in Kelowna. And I was like, well, I'd love to come and help Dan, of course. We're great mates. We've been working together for years. I'm like, well, tell me about the event. He said, well, it's for empire builders, not lifestyle businesses. I was standing right here and I remember my mouth said, that sounds great. And my gut said, like, I don't think you should have to choose. I think every business is a lifestyle business because every business impacts your lifestyle for better or for worse. And putting some boundaries around what your rules are is really, really important, especially because it's your business. And there's a temptation to do more and grow more. And I've done that and looked back and gone, I've built this thing that I don't love like I used to. This is a super random reference, but it's early in the morning for me and I'm just going to say it. You know those compression pants called Spanx?
Yes.
Okay, so we teach our clients to Spanx their calendars. And so if you look at like a week view of a calendar from Monday to Friday, if you Spanx your calendar, we start with like the week view and we just go, okay, well, what days will I happily be on? And so for me, that's like Tuesday to Friday. That's 4 days. That's nice, which means I can always have a long weekend. So we Spanx it horizontally and then you can Spanx it vertically as well and just go, okay, well, what's my start time and what's my finish time? And so for me, every day, except for today, because I'm on here with you at 6 a.m. because of time zones, I'm 8 till midday. So 4 hours, 4 days. That's a pretty fun work week for me. And then I can pick the kids up from school and I can hang out with my friends. And so it's super lifestyleable. And the nice thing about your own business is, unlike working for someone else, you can set your own hours, and often we forget to. Boyle's law for the expansion of gases says that a gas expands to fill the space available to it. And so our job is to put some constraints around the space available to it so that we can actually build the business that we want. So can it be a lifestyle business? 100%. My clients are split 50, like at the top end, $1 million plus. Some of them are actively building an empire and like scaling it to sell it. I've got a bunch of those. And that's really fun.
I think you can have both.
You can 100% have both.
You can build an empire and build a lifestyle business, but it's about being intentional.
Yes. And so you're going to be a bit strategic around the rules, just like we were with the calendar. One of my favorite clients is this crazy cat called Rob, who lives in Brisbane, about 2 hours south. And his business does $6 million a year, 85 to 90% margins. And last year he worked 330 hours the whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, which works out to be a few days a month. It's very nice. Lots of time off, plays golf a lot, travels with his wife, Nat. So it's very doable. You just got to be intentional about how you design, what are you selling and how are you going to sell it so that it gives you what you want.
Does he have a big team?
No, up until recently, it was him plus two, I think. Yeah, so he was the team of three. I think maybe they're at five now. And so that's just a function of how do we keep it really simple? And the way he's kept it simple, it's premium priced, just like everyone who you work with. He's got an incredible track record in a particular industry. So it's premium price and it's capped at 64 clients in groups of 8. So it's 8 groups of 8. And they meet 3 times a year in person and 3 times a year in between as a group on Zoom. So it's contained because he did the big thing and he did the work hard scale thing and he did the SaaS thing and he actually got kicked out of his business, put in a CEO and a board, and they fired him a few years ago, his previous business. Boy. And so he got the amazing gift of a blank slate and the ability to like, well, my next thing, this is how I want it to be. He's a shining light of you can have whatever you want if you just know what it is, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. And I think that's a scary time for people. Like when we work with founders after they've exited, it's usually after they've gone through the existential crisis and they're on the other side and they're like, okay, I've gone through the dark soul of the night and I'm trying to figure out who I am now without my business. And that time between selling a business or maybe even getting kicked off your board, if you don't already have a sense of what you want to do and the impact you want to create, creating from scratch sounds exciting, but it can also be very daunting.
So with Rob, he messaged me and told me this story. And he flew down to Sydney and we hung out by the Sydney Opera House. There's a restaurant underneath called the Opera Bar. It's lovely. So we met down there and he had this beautiful leather-bound notebook with his initials monogrammed on it because he's a classy dude. And he said, Taki, before we get started, let me show you what I want. He'd just taken some time and he wrote down 15 rules for what his new business needed to give him. He was incredibly clear. So there were things like, we'll travel business class. It will take no more than this amount of time. I want no more than this many clients. Just a bunch of like non-negotiables. And sometimes if you're starting a new thing, some constraints is a really helpful set of parameters to build from. And sometimes it's easy to start with, here's what I don't want. That's easy to connect with. And then you can go, well, I don't want that. And so what's left is what you start with.
Yeah, I think it really helps if you have some boundaries. I think I was sharing with you when we met about my talk, A Life Worth Dying For. I have these 8 words. They're like what I desire, how I want to live my life, and they're the lens through which every decision I make is made. And it's even on a daily basis.
What are the words?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, tell me.
So adventure, fun,
yes,
love, connection, creativity, impact, wealth, and vitality.
That's amazing. This explains a lot, by the way. Yeah, I could totally, it's very you.
So going on an adventure trip to Papua New Guinea, adventure. Going and playing pool with my husband and kids, or doing something fun, going dancing, that hits that. Going to concerts. Vitality is everything. It's like if I'm not healthy, body, mind, and soul, I can't have the impact that I'm here to have. Wealth is not just monetary for me, but it's paying my team. It's being able to have a wealth of friends and family and love and all of those things. It's so multifaceted, but to me, I was able to distill everything that I desire into that. So I asked this question in my talk is your business worth dying for?
Oh, that's big.
That question I remember somebody looking at me saying, it's not. I'm like, if you're trading today for however you're living your life, who you're spending it with, the business you're building, is it worth trading a day of your life, years of your life? And that's a pretty eye-opening experience. I think this idea of like grow for the sake of growth, miss family dinners, don't take the vacation, work yourself into the ground, don't eat properly, don't exercise, like all these things that we forgo for the sake of growth and wealth that is determined as somebody else has defined it.
Yeah.
But what if you defined wealth? To me is freedom. It's a freedom to have the impact that I'm here to have. And so that's how I've defined it. It's not anybody else's definition of success, how big my team is, how much business we have, but the way that I choose to live my life and run my business. Is it perfect? No. But it's the life that I'm designing. Hey founders, quick shameless plug for the sponsor of this podcast and my company, Lab Creative, where we help ambitious founders untangle their personal brand from their business so they can position the company to sell and build a personal brand for their next evolution. If that sounds like you, head to labcreative.ca to check out our work and to book a call with me. Or if you want to just dip your toe in first, grab a copy of the Founders Brand Playbook. It's our free step-by-step guide to building a brand that attracts premium buyers and creates opportunities for you post-sale. You can download it at labcreative.ca/playbook.
A couple of years ago, I was in a bit of a funk. Yeah, we took off like a rocket during COVID, and it was a great business, and then it got big, and big meant we weren't as systemized as we should have been. And so the solution at the time was like, let's just find a person. And we just threw people at the problem, which is great, until it wasn't. I ended up on Zoom. Once a month, the team gets together and we do like a monthly meetup. Part social, part here's what's coming up and that sort of thing. And I got on Zoom with the team, and when you get on Zoom and there's enough people that it goes to page 2. So my team, my team became like a page 2. Yeah, I was like, holy crap, when did we become a 2-page Zoom company? I was like, oh. And my next thought, I didn't say this part out loud, I was like, what the F do all these people do here? And because I felt like we were like very heavy for the amount of, it just got slow and bloated and heavy and felt really heavy on me. So a year and a bit ago, we made some pretty amazing shifts. And now the business is, we went from 33 or 36 people to 8. It's lighter and it's nimble and it's fun again. And I haven't scaled myself out of it. I've scaled myself into the fun, and it's amazing again. It's the best thing I've done in a long time. I think that all of that to say is it's easy to get off track, but it's also, you're always just a decision away. As soon as I don't want that, I do want this. So once a quarter we do I did it yesterday. I give each part of my business and my role a score on a 4-point scale. 4 is good because there's no middle, right? 1 is terrible, really, really bad, not good enough, pretty good, could be better, fantastic. I give myself a 4-point scale and a little write-up about how it's going. And then, so I call it reflections and directions. So the reflections is like, how are we doing? And directions is, what do we want to, now that we're aware of that, what could we do? Anyway, we're deep in the weeds here. But yes, I think knowing what you want is really, really important. That's all I'm trying to say.
I love getting into the weeds. And sometimes we need to meander down the path, because I think that's actually what's really important for people to hear, is the fact that your business took off and then it got to a place where you weren't enjoying it.
It might be part of the reason they're in the having this exit conversation right now.
Yeah, they're not happy. Now they have a job or they have a role in their company. They're no longer doing the thing that got them started in their business in the first place. They're managing people, they're in meetings, doing all these things. They're like, I started this business because I love fill in the blank.
That was me.
Now I spend almost no time doing that.
Yeah, correct. I thought a lot about this personally, is like the role of CEO and founder. The way I think about it anyway, the founder is like the maker and CEO is the manager, and they're both great roles, but we're probably more naturally wired for one rather than the other. I swapped doing amazing creative client work for being on meetings and logistics, and I was way out of my sweet spot. So like I had to like switch back and put my founder hat back on and get out of all the other stuff. Anyway.
And here you are.
And here we are.
You did it.
I totally did it. It's the best. With some help.
Yeah. And we all need that help to get there. And even to see things that we can't see for ourselves. We often have blinders on, and other people can see things that we can't.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you think, like, if somebody is listening to this, and maybe they're still in their business and they are thinking of exiting and they're thinking about this next chapter, and coaching is something that's coming to them, they're like, I have a lot of knowledge, I have insights, I want to be able to pass this along. Could you share a couple of things that they could do to get started?
Yeah, I think these journeys start with figuring out, by the way, think about this like an iterative process. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to like get the thing right on version 1, and you might, but you probably won't. And so one of the things that we start with is, who do I want to be a hero to? Who do I want to serve in my next role? I think we've talked a lot about money and time, which are both great currencies for you, the business owner. But I think for me, it's like, it's money and it's meaning and it's freedom. And so freedom's time, that's great. Money's good, we get that. Meaning is a really rich source of motivation. And for me, my job is to help the good guys win. And so most of the people we work with come from a place of, I want to do great work that really helps people either with a problem that I've solved or a kind of person that I deeply connect with. And often it's a very common path for someone to be in an industry and then active in the industry and then come back and mentor into that industry. That happens quite a lot. And so you've got a bunch of skills. The first thing I think about is, what's a core problem that we can solve? So in your world, I don't know how it came about, but you've got this incredible knack for helping somebody who's like done a big thing and is leaving the big thing, and there's a bunch of existential dread about, if I'm not the founder of X anymore, who am I? And so rebranding. So you found like a who that you love and a skill set you've got and married them together. I think, so we'll have the niche conversation. I think when we get started, sometimes there's a bit of pressure about like, what if I get the wrong who, or I choose the wrong business model? It's much more important that we start, because when we're in motion, we can get some feedback. And so I think about dating a niche, not marrying it. I've got a friend called Randall who had a rule. He's a 50-year-old man with kids now, but when he was dating in high school and university, he had a $500 rule for dates. And the rule was, if I meet somebody, by the time I've spent $500 on the relationship in dinners and going outs and all the stuff, at the end of $500, I need to make a call. Either this thing's got a future or it doesn't. If it doesn't, he'd just cut it and he'd move to the next one. I think that's kind of a bit mercenary, but I think dating a niche is kind of great. It means you don't spend too long in a thing that may or may not be you. The way I think about a niche, it's just a Venn diagram and overlap between two circles. It's a person that you help and a problem that you solve, a who and a what. So if you think about all of the who's that you might help or the problems you might like to solve, and we just make a quick list of those. I was recording a video about this a little bit ago. So this is a niche, right? We've got a person and we've got a problem that we solve. And then we do this little activity for each. Sometimes it's really clear, I help these kind of people with that kind of problem, and that's your jam. If you're not there yet, then just make a list of here's 2 or 3 that I might help. I've got an affinity with that kind of person. I could do this, I could do that. And we just make a list of who are the people that I like and what kind of problems do they have? What do they want instead? And then we're really asking and answering 3 questions. Do I like them? Because you're going to be doing this for a little while and it's important to do work you love with people you care about, right? So number 1, do I like them? Number 2, can I help them? There's a lot of people who I like them, but I can't necessarily get them an outcome. That's not fun. And then 3rd, will they happily pay? You want to be rewarded for the work you do. Years ago, I was in a workshop and a woman said, Taki, I'm having some problem with my pricing model. It's okay, well, who's your who? Who do you help? And she worked with unemployed single mums who've been on welfare for the last 5 years. I'm okay, well, it's not a pricing model thing. It's a who problem. So if we get this overlap between do I like them, can I help them, and can they pay? Even just if we left brain logic this, you've probably got a bunch of options and there'll be 1 or 2 that tick 3 boxes. And if you get to the point where you've got one clear winner, let's lean into that for a bit. And I think if we think about this dating idea, if we date it for 90 days and we just go, I'm going to put everything I can into this, and you're just going to get feedback from the world about, do they resonate? Is my messaging on? If my messaging is on and they say yes, do I still like it? And it's early and there's no pressure on you right now. So you don't have to get it right. You just have to play. Sometimes you find 2 niches, 2 problems and people that both look good on paper. That could be hard. It's well, what if I choose the wrong one? You can't choose the wrong one. It's today, it's not forever. And so we get a coin and we make 1 heads and 1 tails and we toss it and we catch it. And then before we look at the coin, usually when the coin's in the air, your gut hopes that it lands on blank. So then we just chuck the coin out and we do that. Yeah, I've had 20-cent coins decide a lot of fates and it's a fabulous thing. So I think we start with who do I want to help and about what? And then we can get tactical into how do we turn that into a coaching program or price it or whatever you want. But I realize I've been banging on about stuff and it's your show, not mine. So
no, I think it is really valuable. What I can add to that is that it will evolve. My business has evolved. My niche has absolutely evolved.
100%.
This really focusing on founders who are thinking of exiting or who are on the other side of an exit, helping them tease apart their personal brand from their business.
Yes.
That's relatively new in the last couple of years because I started to see that problem was being presented to us by people who were coming to us. And I was ooh, okay.
There's something here.
This is a problem that we can solve.
Yes.
And I'd gone through a period where I had people who could never pay their bills, had money scarcity, were not making, and I was I need to move away from that.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
And I'm guess who has money? Founders who are selling their business. And that may sound brash of me to say, but I also knew that it's a niche that we can serve. The who, I know 100% I can help these people and I like them. I can really meet them. And I have something that I can do. Just like you said, I can solve a problem for them and they can pay.
Yeah. Because coaches get hired when your clients either have a goal that they want but don't have, or a problem they have but don't want. And so we always get hired in the gap. So to your point a second ago, even when you figure out the who, a lot of people think about niches who's my demographic? Do I work with astrophysicists or hair salons or software companies or whatever? And so I think that's step 1, horizontally, who do we work with? But then within each one of those little segments, we can niche vertically as well. And just think about if this is about the category of people I'm working with, this is about the caliber. So let's say I'm a sports coach and they're all athletes, but I could work with kids or someone in junior sport or an amateur or a professional or an Olympian. And so once we think horizontally, the next phase is vertically. Do you have a skill set that can help people at which level? Because Every niche has like at least 4 phases. People who are bleeding, in trouble, need money, need to turn something around right now. That's pretty common. Are they slipping? So things used to be great and now it's not. They're stable, or they're leading. These guys we sell safety to. These guys want structure, like a plan. These guys want to scale, and these guys mostly they've got everything's going great and they just want speed. And so we can think about niching vertically as well. And the truth is that the same skills that someone's got that will help this guy probably relate really well to each of the higher levels. The only difference is that these people are usually easier to work with and will happily pay more. And there's a bigger ROI for the work you do just because they've got a bit more emotion.
Yeah, I think we could probably take this conversation in many ways. I think money becomes a big story in all of this for many people, wouldn't you say? And I think that's probably a whole other conversation when it comes to like pricing and money mindset.
Yeah. It's really common. I got really good at marketing because I was terrified of sales, just terrified. I had a bunch of weird money beliefs. My family, I don't want to make it sound super dramatic, but my family was pretty involved my grandparents anyway, super involved in the Communist Party. We had a Communist Party hotline, a red phone in the house. ASIO, which is like the CIA, had files on them. And so I grew up with some really weird beliefs like Americans are bastards and money is evil, were like 2 of them. And it's true. It's not true, but that's what I grew up hearing. A bunch of weird beliefs about money.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Just to be really clear. So I had some super strange money beliefs, and the way I help our clients approach it, and this was useful for me, is realizing that your self-esteem and self-confidence is kind of irrelevant. So this is how we all use the tools we've got. I don't have any like money mindset woo-woo skills at all. I'm just gonna like skip that step. We've all met people who have really low skill but super high confidence, and they tend to do really, really well. And so they're like, hey, look at me, I'm great. And we also all know other people who are like amazingly talented and have pretty low confidence. The problem with both groups is they're focused on themselves. Oh, I don't have enough confidence, or look at me, I'm so great. If you think about it, back to the idea of like a goal we have, a goal we want but don't have, or a problem we have but don't want, the prospect's not focused on you or your confidence, they're focused on their problem. So as soon as we figure out what's the cost of not hiring you, then life gets pretty fun. And so instead of going, well, how much should I charge for this? If we go, what does it cost them to not fix this? And so we can just reverse engineer. If you've ever worked with somebody and got an amazing result, or you've done it in your own business, what was the outcome of that? Like tactically, maybe financially. And then what are the spin-off benefits of that? Because it didn't just make the money go up, but other things got better as a result. And if we took all of that away, not solving this problem would have cost me X. Frankly, we're doing people a huge disservice by not helping them fix the problem. So I think if we can bypass your confidence, it doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe, or you've got self-esteem or not. Value is in the client. And so it's the moment we can quantify the cost of not hiring you, and then we just set a price that does 2 things. It delivers them a really clear, compelling, amazing return on investment. I like to have my price be like a 10th or a 20th of the return, but a healthy margin for me. And the nice thing about these coaching businesses is, in terms of tools, what do you need? You need a phone and maybe a laptop, and everyone's got a phone and a laptop. And then so your cost base is pretty low, especially to start. And then we can price by the cost of not hiring you instead of the cost of your self-esteem, which is a variable which I've got no control over.
Yeah, so true. Wow, I've loved this conversation, Taki. I feel like we meandered in many different places, but I feel like there's so many valuable nuggets that people are going to get from this. I really do. So this podcast is called Legacy Branding. And so I would love to know, and I always ask people this, what does legacy mean to you? And what is the legacy that you're creating?
I haven't been asked that before. I've got really mixed feelings about this. On one side, legacy is what people say about you when you go, or the kind of difference that is there when you leave. On the other side, I don't know how much people are going to be saying about me when I'm, like, they'll be sad for, like, people close will be sad. I lost a great friend during COVID and I miss him terribly. I think about him almost every day. But I just don't think people are busy. I don't know that they're going to remember me. So then mostly I just get to do what I want right now because it doesn't really matter. So I've got those like 2 conflicting emotions about legacy.
It is interesting. A lot of people have conflicting feelings about even the word legacy. And so I like to look at it. So let me reframe it for you and ask you, what is the impact that you want to create while you're here?
Yeah, I want to help the good guys win. That's what it's about for me. If I'm working on projects that excite me with people I love to work with to help people we really care about, I'm doing it right. And the impact of that is that more good people get to do good things in the world. Yeah, I don't really care how I'm remembered, but I get a huge thrill out of seeing our clients. I see them on social and I can see that they did something, and I can see like a little bit of our thumbprint or our DNA in what they did. And that just gives me, I just light up. I'm like, did you see what they did? They did the thing that we just did here and we taught them and now they're doing it. It's like, that's the best.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that is the legacy. It's like your living legacy, the impact you're having on people and the ripple effect that is having on the people you serve and what it allows them to be able to do. It is a beautiful ripple effect that you are creating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really cool,
And
actually.
you obviously love what you do.
Yeah, I really do. I'm very lucky.
So for anybody listening who is considering jumping into coaching or wants to connect with you, learn more about working with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
So easiest thing to do, check me out and learn a little bit. Instagram is my favorite short form social channel. So lots of videos and usefuls there. YouTube, I've just started diving into about 8 weeks ago. And so every week I'm sharing a tool, a training, a how-to on how to start and grow and scale a coaching business. Find me there. And if it looks useful, then there's links on those pages to message me, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I will say Taki has great content on Instagram, really great tidbits and insights. I've definitely watched some of your videos and they're so great. And I was just starting to dive into your YouTube as well with those longer trainings.
I'm only 8 weeks in, so I'm not an expert yet, but I'm having a very good time. I think when you first get started, like the whole social media content thing feels big. Like I need to be on all these platforms. Am I on LinkedIn or am I on Twitter, X or Instagram or Facebook or whatever? We just pick one short form channel because short form's the easiest to get some skill and some reps in, and you really learn your market, you learn messaging, and you find your voice, and then we can add long form channels later. Find me wherever you enjoy content and we'll go from there.
Amazing.
Thanks for having me. This is really fun.
Yeah.
And you got to see the house go from like dark mode to light mode as the sun came up.
I was like, oh, the sun has come up now in Australia.
Yep, 100%.
I love it. Thank you, Taki. Thanks for being here on the show.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Thanks for tuning into the Legacy Branding Podcast. I hope today's episode has inspired and empowered you on your journey to building a brand that truly matters. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other founders who you think would benefit from listening. And if you're ready to take the next step in building your legacy brand, visit our website, labcreative.ca, to learn more and book a call. Don't forget to join us next time for more conversations that will help you navigate your transition and create your legacy. Until then, I'm Laura Beauparlant.